Welcome to BizTech.
Today we're going to take a look back at 2013
and do some projections for what to watch for in 2014, so stick around. Welcome to BizTech, your weekly discussion of integration of technology for small business. I'm Paul.
And I'm Toby.
And today we're going to be doing a special edition here, kind of a recap of 2013, kind of going over some of the major stories in technology for small business, and then we're also going to be taking a bit of a look forward into what to kind of be watching and looking for in 2014. So a couple of things we have on the lineup for today. We're going to be talking about Chromecast, the government shutdown, and Windows 8 for this last year. And then looking forward, we're going to be talking about some interesting things on the horizon for 2014. So first thing that we want to jump into, let's go right into it, Chromecast. This is a pretty big tech item for 2013, definitely something useful in both homes and offices. Toby, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, well, Google released this little device called the Chromecast. You plug it straight into the HDMI port on your HD TV, and then you plug the other end into a USB port to power the whole thing. But then you just take your probably Android device, but definitely your Chrome browser on your desktop or your laptop, and then you can send whatever's on there to your Chromecast and therefore your TV. Very cool, very nifty way to share whatever you're viewing. If you need to show somebody a web page, you just want to share a YouTube video, pictures that you've got in Google Plus, whatever. Very neat little thing, and they introduced it and they're still selling it here in the fourth quarter at $35 a piece.
Yeah, and this is definitely an interesting product because it's so versatile. It's something that you can do a lot of different things with. Again, like I said earlier, this is something that's useful both at home, and in the office. And so you can take this, and this is something that you can use to turn your phone into kind of a TV remote. For watching Netflix and different stuff at home. But at the office, like we use it, you can take this Chromecast, plug it into the conference room TV, and then when you're having different meetings, you can, like you said, take content from a tablet at the table and stream it onto the big TV so that everybody can see it. And then you can switch between users and get different content up there so that it just makes it a lot more convenient. And again, it doesn't add any extra wires or anything. You're not seeing. You don't even see it. It's just a little size of a USB stick. You just plug, like you said, plug into the HDMI and start rolling. So definitely something that you want to look at. This is something you can get on Amazon. Also available at Walmart. It looks like they're $29.99 right now at Walmart. So this is definitely something that's affordable. It's an alternative to the Apple TV, which does some different things, but is at a lot higher of a price point. So you can kind of get some of that same functionality for one-time fee of $30. It's definitely something you should look into if you have a conference room TV that you use a lot at your business. So another thing that we're going to talk about today, another big story for 2013 was the government shutdown. This was, how long did that go on? That was
a 2-week ordeal, I believe.
Yeah, and it was something where nobody really knew what to expect or what was going to come out of it or what was going to happen. So it was really an interesting time because looking at it from the outside, a lot of people didn't see a lot of the changes, but what ended up happening is actually a lot of the government websites, actually all the government websites shut down. Basically, if you tried to go to any .gov site, you got a landing page that says, "Nice try, but we can't help you right now." So this was, obviously, as a small business owner, that could have created some problems for you. And so just to be able to, to look at the effects of that, other than access to those sites, and obviously the Parks Department had a lot of issues. Other ramifications of that you could think of that may have been...
Sure, well, from a larger business perspective, we've got the economic impact that was. Yeah. The businesses on the way to a park certainly created problems for them. With our government, we certainly had the Healthcaregov, still currently a fiasco.
Definitely still a thing.
And so nobody really knows how or when that's really actually going to be fixed. But that is definitely, I'm sure the government shutdown has played into that on some level. We obviously don't have the details of that. but I'm sure it played in somehow.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely didn't help.
Sure.
And the healthcare.gov website, if you're not too familiar with that scenario, basically the government put a lot of money into this website for people to be able to sign up for the new healthcare system. And the website has had all kinds of problems with, traffic overflows causing it to not function properly and people being unable to sign up. This is just something that has been a bit of a problem, and is definitely one of the bigger stories affecting a lot of both individuals and, again, business owners dealing with not being able to have access to the different website, different online government resources that normally they would have because of that. But definitely one of the bigger stories of 2013. Another big story, shifting gears a little bit, but staying on the track of talking about things that didn't work quite as they planned, Windows 8. That was probably near the top of the list of 2013 flops, I would think. Unfortunately, Windows went a completely different direction. I'm not sure that the direction was a complete fail. But at the same time, the product itself really didn't go over all that well. A lot of difficulties, especially at launch, the first launch of Windows 8. I mean, they had a lot of problems with users experiencing, it just really getting in when they installed the operating system, experienced a lot of problems with it, like it just freezing up and deleting data and programs and stuff, and people losing files. It was really just a big fiasco.
Yeah, certainly. And, something that a lot of people probably didn't realize was there are certain versions of Windows 8 that weren't compatible with their Windows 7 programs. So they would get, this fancy new laptop and whatever, and then they go, I can't use this program, why not? Well, it's not a full version, really, of Windows 8. It was Windows 8 RT. Really?
Yeah, and a lot of people were unhappy with that, and that created a lot of problems, and really, again, put another ding in Microsoft's, and their, kind of on their appearance. That, not necessarily been a good last couple of years for them. Windows 7 did really well, and I think this Windows 8 situation really gave people a greater appreciation for the operating system that Windows 7 is. They have made some improvements. They've been continuously kind of making it better along the way. And again, I don't think the whole thing is a loss, because what they did discover is that on their Surface tablets, while they may be overpriced, on any of the mobile devices that are running this Windows 8 platform, it really does a great job. I mean, it's definitely something that's very effective for that niche. I mean, for the tablet PC hybrid region, this is something that was, honestly, it did very well at that. The problem was that they didn't really differentiate it between that and the non-touchscreen PCs.
Yeah.
So Windows 8 overall, really you have to split it into two different pieces. You have to look at it from the tablet perspective, and then you have to look at it from the desktop perspective. From the desktop side, you probably don't want it. So if you're looking at making considerations at the end of the year here about buying hardware, on a laptop side or on a desktop PC side where you're not looking at a touchscreen, I'm going to suggest Windows 7. But if you're looking at maybe kind of a hybrid or a tablet kind of device, Windows 8 is definitely something that you could take advantage of. There's kind of our thoughts and kind of some of the bigger stories of 2013 that we had kind of talked about in some of our other old videos. You can check out the Salcha archives for those. They may be on there. You may be able to track them down if you look for some of the old BizTech episodes. But let's move on. 2014. What are some of the things we're expecting? We got a couple of different topics on the list here. One of the ones I want to start with. In a couple weeks ago, we saw kind of this online emergence of Coin. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Coin is a little device that's about the size of a credit card. And, well, it is the size of a credit card. But you can store multiple credit cards inside of just the one. So then there's a little button on it you flip through until you get to the one that you want, and then you hand that one over to whoever is swiping your card. And that way you can take your business card, your Visa, your MasterCard, your American Express, all of those with you, and you got your Diner Club with you while you went out to eat. That's fortunate, so you flip to your Diner Club, there you go, ready to go. So that's kind of neat, but they've run into some problems with that. There's a lot of compliance issues, security things that they haven't taken into account. there's just a lot of complications that they haven't figured out yet.
And this is something that is definitely one of those wow ideas. I mean, this is something that people are really going to jump onto right away. You've seen that in the Kickstarter campaign. They did very well, brought in a lot of money. They've even got some venture capital backing at this point. They've done well on the support side. They've seen that people are willing to support this idea. This is definitely something that has a lot of upside. Now it's just a matter of making it a reality. So this is something we're definitely going to want to watch in 2014, just to see if those troubles with compliance and then the security side of things, if they can get all of that figured out and get this product to market, this is going to change. I truly believe that this is something that can get in the hands of the consumer. This is going to change merchant services and credit card processing. So definitely something to keep an eye on is going to be Coin, as far as the ability to put all the credit cards onto one device. So we'll move on from that. Moving forward, we're going to talk a little bit about a couple of different phone companies here. The first one I want to bring up is Republic Wireless. This is a company that is really more of a service provider, and they are really, I think, going to push the competition to a whole new level. And really bring the big three and make them up their ante.
Yeah, and if you're not familiar with Republic Wireless, basically what they offer is they offer a couple different phones, but only those two phones. And their whole premise is that you spend most of your day at a Wi-Fi place. So rather than using the cell towers for all of your data and your voice and your text messages and all of that bandwidth, instead use the Wi-Fi. Somebody's paying for it already, whether you're at your home or where you work or whatever. So use that first, and then if it's not available, then fall back to a cellular tower. So they're able to really cut costs because they don't have all that network overhead in cell towers and the upkeep from that and everything. So they have plans that start as cheap as like $5 and $10 a month, which is just unheard of. And that's for unlimited talk and text are those two plans. And who does that?
I mean, that's especially when you start looking at the price points that they're looking at bringing to market. These are plans that are literally 500% cheaper than the current competitors. And right now, I mean, you look at the big providers, and you don't really have an alternative.
No.
And Republic Wireless is kind of bursting onto the scene a little bit, and they're picking up some momentum as people are catching on to the fact that, wait, I don't have to pay $150 a month for my family's phone bill, because it's gotten to that point where right now, I mean, if you want talk and text, which are your bare minimums anymore, you have to buy a phone with a data plan on it. So, I mean, you're looking at $50, $60 a line already.
Starting.
Right, and that's your
that's
your bare minimum, no frills, no overages on data and things like that. I mean, so this is something that is really going to change the way, or at least make the other companies change the way that they provide service. So Republic Wireless, definitely something to watch in 2014 in kind of the cell phone industry. Speaking of changes and cell phones, let's talk about another company, Blackberry. Haven't done so well recently. They made kind of, I believe it was a Q4, maybe late Q3 push. They launched, I believe, a new phone, as well as a new product. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's using it.
Nope.
They're not selling anything. Or do you see, I mean, start with maybe, what are some of their problems? And then are they even going to make it through 2014? Will we see Blackberry at the end of 2014?
Just because they're so established, it's hard to imagine them not in the cell phone industry, or in the mobile device industry, maybe more accurately. But at this point, they're really not. They really don't seem to be pushing the limits the way that Google and Apple are going back and forth, and then you see Google and Apple going back and forth and going, and then BlackBerry's like way back and they're like, hey, wait for me. So it's just really, I don't know if we'll see them around at the end of 2014. I think they're really gonna have to update a lot of things. They may even have to switch technologies of their OS, which comes then you run into all sorts of problems with that. So I don't know. They're gonna have to really make some things very appealing, because developers will make money in the Google Play and the Apple App Store. Obviously, the App Store being a higher revenue stream than Google Play, but even so, I mean, the market share that they have is just, it's tough to beat that with the Blackberry App Store.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of the major problems that they've had. One of the reasons they haven't been able to compete. In my opinion, they have something to offer. Every company has some value left in it. BlackBerry, obviously one of the first movers in kind of this smartphone era. But they fell behind. They kind of sat on what they had and made a lot of money early on, especially in the business realm. That's kind of where that whole thing started, was providing managers and anybody that traveled had a BlackBerry. But now looking at what that has kind of shifted much more to the personal side, and because of that, I think that's really where they fell behind. So I think I'm calling for a buyout in 2014. I think you'll see one of the major providers jump on that, because there's obviously something that they have, because the government's still using BlackBerry exclusively. Security features that are enabled in that OS on those devices still superior to some of the others, and so because of that, the government is still using them, which means there's obviously something there. And my guess is that you'll see one of the other big guys say, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and take that while we got the cash and we got the time, so we're going to grab that before somebody else does and before it dies. So that's kind of it's really where BlackBerry's headed. So that's that'd be a major change to see them out of the game.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see if Google did that, because they bought Motorola about a year ago. So Motorola was viewed kind of the same way. It was kind of petering out. And we're like, I don't know if we'll see anything good from Motorola. Then they released the Moto X and a couple other devices too. So now people's impression of Motorola is on the upswing again. So it'd be interesting to see if Google actually buys them out.
Yeah, and going back to Motorola, talking a little bit about 2014, another thing that we may be looking forward to seeing is phones built from component pieces. That was something that Motorola and Google were kind of looking at, maybe pushing here, coming pretty soon. Is that something you think that'll be in the marketplace by the end of 2014?
I sure hope so. If you're interested in doing more research on it, it's called Project Ara, A-R-A, and it just is a fantastic idea. Instead of getting a all-in-one device, you would buy a base, and then you'd get you could buy pre-built things basically. But then if your screen goes out, or you need more storage, or you want a camera on the back, you can just take the back off, put a camera on, and you're done. So it's very cool that people are thinking that way. You want more RAM in your phone, you buy more RAM and you stick it in there. Which obviously is great for the environment. It becomes great for users, because now it's really affordable to upgrade my device. I can get a higher res screen or whatever. So, I really hope that Motorola does something with that. We also caught wind of phone blocks. And so the founders, or the starters of Phone Blocks and Project Ara, they kind of met up and they did their little coffee thing or whatever they did. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see if either of those ideas takes off. I sure hope that they do.
Yeah, definitely something that would be kind of good for everybody involved.
Yeah.
A lot of gain to be had there. All right, we're going to move on to our last item here. 2014, Google Glass. Is this something, we've seen a little bit of it, Google kind of talking about it all year long. Just kind of, throwing their ads out there, seeing different people wearing it, doing different things, and then you hear every once in a while about an update. They put, they added this, they're working on the bugs, we promise, is 2014 the year that Google Glass becomes a mainstream product?
That's another tough one, because it's such a different take on technology and how we use it. It's really tough to say, because we were all hoping for a Google Glass mainstream release this time last year. Man, I don't know. It's really in the hands of Google. I think we could see it. we could see it second quarter maybe of 2014. I don't know.
And what I'm going to say is that I anticipate kind of a more public retail release, if you will. I'm going to guess the end of second quarter, kind of like you're saying. But what I'm also going to assume is that price point isn't going to be there for most everybody.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be high.
The only people that have it right now are people that Google wanted to have it really bad, and a few people that paid $1,500+ a pair.
And we're at the conference.
And we're at their conference.
Yeah.
So obviously this is something that it's not out there yet. I mean, some people have it, but they paid heavily for it, and they were, in a special place in Google's heart. So right now, it's not really out there like right by now. Most people anticipated it would be. Mm-hmm. So my thoughts are, by the end of 2014, it's still not a mainstream product. You won't see it out there like you see tablets right now. That's the assumption that I'm going to go with. I don't know, because of the time and how drawn out this has been, I don't know that it'll ever become as popular as tablet and mobile devices are now. I think that people are now exposed to the idea. They've been exposed to that idea so long that while they're not surprised if they see it, but at the same time, I don't know that it's already old. Google Glass is old. It's something people know about. It's something people are familiar with, even though they can't have it and not everybody has it. I don't know that it's something that's going to take off like these other products have. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes in 2014 and what Google decides to do with it, because really, like you said, it's kind of up to them. So I guess we're going to do what we do best at the end of the show, which is we're going to give you some tips to leave with. So, Toby, do you have the last tip of 2013 for us?
I had one and I forgot it. Why don't you go first?
I'm going to give you mine. Here's what I have to say. Leaving 2013, I'm actually going to give you a bit of a challenge with my tip. My tip for you and my challenge is going to be to make a New Year's resolution at the beginning of the year. Going into 2014, I want you to try to stop using Internet Explorer. My guess is that if you go a full month, if you can make it through January using browsers other than Internet Explorer, you will never go back to it, and you will make the lives of hundreds of web developers all over the United States and the world much happier people. So stop using Internet Explorer, make it a New Year's resolution to get off of that browser.
I drink to that.
Anything you'd like to add?
Sorry, I didn't have time to hold down the whole thing.
No.
My tip for 2014 would be April 8th, we're going to be seeing the end of Windows XP. If you're still using it, now is the time to really work on transitioning off. If you need help with that, call your local IT place. But what I would recommend is actually buying Windows 8 Pro and then finding the Windows 7 Pro disk, because Microsoft has actually allowed the use of that license key for Windows 7 Pro. So now you basically get both operating systems for the cost of one, and at the exorbitant price that it is, I'm doing everything I can to save money on those and make it worth it. So hopefully, Windows 8 will 8.2 or 8.3 or something. They'll have a lot of these bugs worked out, and people can actually upgrade and start using it for their desktops. But that would be my tip. Buy Windows 8 Pro, use Windows 7 Pro.
All right, and there you have it. This has been BizTech for the 2013 recap, 2014 looking ahead. So I'm Paul.
And I'm Toby.
And we'll see you next time.